I enjoy playing Anno 1800 more and more because it's a really meditative experience. And I've been thinking a lot about how my focus in life has changed and my interests in gaming have changed. I know I don't care so much about competitive games anymore. I don't care so much about competitive things anymore. What I really care about is having an experience that feels meaningful. That's really what it all boils down to. It's about finding something that just uplifts your soul, something that makes you feel better when you're done than you were when you began. And there's a lot of things in life that can be like that. There's also a lot of things which do more to disrupt our peace than they do to really contribute to it. And yet we think we're supposed to enjoy those things. We're supposed to want to, participate in the grind of life. So we make it a sort of a self-evident fact that even if we're not having a good experience, that's what we're really supposed to be doing. We're supposed to just get on the treadmill and not really question why we're doing what we're doing. We chase career goals. We chase gaming progression goals. We are always trying to get somewhere with that belief that if we could just get to the mystical foot of the rainbow, life would be somehow better. And yet it seldom is. And I'm reminded of an old man who I used to know. He said, life has loveliness to sell. Buy it and never count the cost. And I think about that saying many times. And I think about how, as my life has evolved, I've got to a place where I guess I finally understand what he was trying to say. At that time, I was in my 20s and he was in his 80s. There was 60 years of age separating his perspective from mine. We were both members of the same Masonic lodge, and then we became friends, and we spent a lot of time just sitting in his office or sitting in a coffee shop somewhere or sitting in his gazebo out by the garden talking about life. And he'd share what was on his mind and I would share what was on mine, but he would always go back to that saying he loved to repeat over and over again: life has loveliness to sell. Buy it and never count the cost. I never really understood that saying. I heard what he was saying and then it kind of went in one ear and out the other. I didn't grasp the message behind it. But now, I guess I do understand. I understand it when I realize that the experiences that really matter in life, we can read a lot of books and we can play a lot of games and we can have a lot of experiences, we can do a lot of things. But in the end, what really matters boils down to that simple concept of focusing on that which is lovely. How often do people get into a toxic relationship and they settle for something, and it's not loveliness, it's some sort of settling. It's the person that spends their life focused on some kind of career goals. It's not that they really believe in what they're doing. It's not that they think what they're doing is so meaningful or spiritually uplifting. It's just something that they're doing because they feel like they're supposed to. And life is just filled with all of these things that we're doing because we believe we're supposed to do it. And it doesn't really uplift our spirit at all. But then if you let go of those things, then you realize, I would zero out all of the money I have and just not worry about any of it ever again, and live in poverty for the rest of my days if I could spend my life with people who I love, doing things that I love. When you start to realize that, then it occurs to you that there's this gold mine of goodness that exists underneath the surface, underneath all of those obligations and superfluities. And if we can let go of the expectations we have and sort of be like children again, then we can recapture the essence of what we lost. We can love the lives that we have. We can feel like life is good enough and we are good enough. We can reclaim some of our time. We can have lives that are filled with joy and blessing and abundance, instead of lives that always feel like they're running out of time somehow, trying to juggle so many priorities that there's just no way to fit all of it into a day. I think it's really important to think about what matters in your life. I know we do a lot of different things, but if you had to make a choice of what matters to you the most, you should know what that is. Like, for example, maybe you have a job and you have your family. Well, you need to understand what you value more. Do you value your job more or your family more? Because if you clearly understand this, then you're not going to give up the thing you value more for the thing you value less. It's just that simple. If I value having good experiences instead of trying to progress, then I'm not going to spend my time playing games that put me in a situation where I feel like I have to grind and I am never good enough. If cooperation is more important than competition, I'm not going to spend my time trying to grind my way up a ladder of progression in a competitive game. I'm going to just let it go, because the experience of having a peaceful, fun time is more valuable to me than always chasing something. You see, we have to be able to understand what matters the most to us, because if we don't, then there's going to be a time in our life where we have to choose. We have to figure out if we're coming or going. We have to decide to follow what we believe in or to follow the path that other people want us to follow. You see, maybe you go to work every single day and you have financial goals and you have career goals and you have all of this stuff that in your head you need to do. But what if the calling of your life is to go somewhere else and do something new and to walk away from all those things? Have you figured that out? Do you know where you stand? Do you know what matters to you and what doesn't? Enough to be able to let go of those material things of the world and embrace peace in your life? What is the criteria? I guess the criteria is loveliness. Because there's some things which uplift the soul and there's some things that don't. And it's true, there's good and there's bad in the world, and we can't completely hide from it. We have to face reality. But we don't have to be entertained by things that are not uplifting. We don't have to devote our lives to things which are negative or harmful or toxic or manipulative. It's possible to live your life openly and say, I'm going to be practicing the law of attraction in my life. I'm going to see good in the world, and I'm going to be receptive to doing good with my life. And I'm not going to sell my soul for stock options or earthly glory or any of those things. I'm going to live my life meditating on things that make my soul more spiritually whole. And I'm going to spend my time devoting my life to the pursuit of things which represent good and light and truth. So there's going to just be some things that I don't need to worry about anymore. When you let go of a lot of that stuff, then life begins to make sense, because you realize you don't have to make time for everything. You don't have to do everything people say that you should be trying to do. You don't have to play every game. You don't have to devote your life to your career. You don't have to try to be rich and powerful. You don't have to try to be the center of attention. You don't have to try to be in control. You don't have to try to finish your bucket list of games and the backlog. You don't have to do any of it. All you have to do is live today. Pour another cup of tea and just be. And accept that your life is enough. And believe that the universe is a friendly place. Stop being so keyed up and so filled with angst and belief that we have to try to take life by the horns and wrestle it. Life can be enjoyed at a slower pace. And I think often about those disciples that would have maybe followed Jesus or gone on a pilgrimage, or even if you want to adopt a more modern allegory, think about how you start every RPG, role-playing game you've ever played. How do you start? You start off with nothing. You start off with no gear. You start off with no level. You start off with just a shirt and some trousers and some garbage sandals, and you make your way out into the world to begin a new adventure. That's the criteria. That's how you make it to heaven. That's how you have peace here on earth. That's how you find love. It's how you find success. spiritually by letting go of all that, all the stuff, and just saying, I'm going to just be me, to love the life I have, and, to buy loveliness. Never count the cost. I think about how many people have sacrificed relationships. They've sacrificed opportunities. They've sacrificed adventures because the thought of venturing out and going out on a limb and putting yourself out there maybe feels like it's not worth the trouble. It's not worth the risk. And so again and again, we choose the expected, easy path, choosing to bear shackles rather than to face the uncertainty of casting them off and establishing new guards for our future security. It's been said that men are more willing to bear evils while they are sufferable than to cast them off. Because it's always easier just to say, well, some other day. But what if the universe is trying to send you a message? It's trying to say that you are loved and there's opportunity for you and there's second chances and all of that. But you're so busy beating yourself up and pushing yourself to the limit and repeating the same old tired routine again and again, you can't see any of it. It's like those virgins in the Bible that were waiting to go into the party, and some of them brought oil for their lamps and some of them didn't bring oil for their lamps. And the ones that didn't have oil, well, their lamps went out and they had to go to the store and get some more. And then when the doors opened, they weren't able to get in because they weren't ready. That's how it is in life when we're mired down by our former commitments and stuff like that. So we never manage to be available when the universe opens a door, because we're too busy being full of ourselves. We're thinking, I'll have time next year. I'll have time at the end of my career when I retire. And we don't realize how short our lives really are. If we did realize that, then we'd prioritize experiences and relationships over the things that worldly people will try to tell you matter the most of all, like your career and your bank account. I would challenge you to do this. Think about your life honestly and ask yourself what the most meaningful moments of your whole life were. What were the things that mattered to you more than anything else that you ever experienced? And it doesn't matter what those things really were. The reality just is, as you look over your life and everything that's happened to you, the things that matter the most to you, the things that were the most lovely experiences of your life, probably had nothing to do with money. They had nothing to do with your portfolio or what happened in the stock market or a promotion or a new job or any of that. They had something to do with people, with relationships, with love, with the sense that you made a difference, to leave something better than you found it. Maybe to make a positive impact on someone's day or someone's life. It's people stuff. It's examples of love in your life that will matter the most. Those are going to be the things that you remember the most. Little things that almost seem embarrassingly not worth mentioning are probably the happiest moments of your life. You see, we are simple, small creatures. The things that really matter aren't ever the big monumental things. Going full circle and looking at gaming again as an example, I'll always remember the first time I loaded into Anno 1602 and I heard the soundtrack of Amazing Grace playing in the background. I don't know if I ever finished a game of Anno 1602, but I do remember that feeling of playing it for the first time. See, it wasn't about what I accomplished in the game. It was about the fact that it transported me somewhere and it felt real and amazing. I remember playing Flight Simulator. I don't even know what version it was. Maybe Flight Simulator 98. I don't know. One of those old versions of Microsoft Flight Simulator on a computer that was not equipped to support it. Getting 7 frames per second, barely able to play the game. And yet, I was so excited and intrigued by this whole idea of a flight simulator. It was just incredible. Those are the kinds of things you take with you throughout your life. Little moments that capture a feeling, that make you connect to something greater than yourself. Those are the things that matter. And the crazy thing is we live in a world where those are the things that will always be suppressed. And people will say, well, you have to be serious. You have to, focus on the things that matter and get your head out of the clouds. But the reality is all of those things that capture your imagination and uplift you and give you the sense of life-changing moments of awe, those are the things that actually matter in life. So don't sacrifice the opportunity for meaningful experiences in the name of practicality. Continue to seek out things which are lovely, things which are wholesome, things which are uplifting. Continue to find ways to purge the toxic things out of your life, the bad news, the negative things, the stuff that underscores the evil elements of humanity. Find ways to let go of those things and instead focus on loveliness and buy it and never count the cost. As always, in game, in life, wherever you find yourself on your adventure, very best of luck to you. And thanks so much for watching.